Well, hello there, and welcome back to part 3. This time around, we're going to be modeling hands and feet. Just like last time, if you're wondering, the references will be on our Discord server, so feel free to join there and get to these references for the feet and hands that we're going to be using in this video. We're going to start off with a cube, as you can see here, and we're just going to do some box modeling here and there. We're going to do a basic block out, add a couple of loop cuts, and then you can go by pressing Alt-E, you can get that individual extrusion on the faces. Now right there at the very top, you will notice that when I delete these faces and I select this, we should have 24 edges. And that's going to allow us to connect the feet to the rest of the body very easily without having any issues. Also, as you saw there a moment ago, I used loop tools to create that circle, so we have a nice circular thing at the very top. We subdivide it a little bit, and then we can finally start actually getting the shapes there. But yeah, we're going to also inset here, so we have a little bit more topology in that area. And at this point, we just smooth out and make sure to always look at the reference to get the feet to look how you want them to be. Nothing really much to add here. All I'm doing is just, moving things around and just, getting it to look good. At this point, we pretty much have done at least 50% of the modeling. We're not going to be adding any more loop cuts or anything like that to the main foot. We will be adding some loop cuts on the fingers and stuff like that once we get to that part, but pretty much the main foot is pretty much done when it comes to the modeling. We just have to kind of move things around and, get it into the proper shape. So right here we're going to dissolve some vertices, and that's going to create n-gons, but that's exactly what we want. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, wait, hold on denRubi, aren't n-gons bad? Don't we want to avoid n-gons? Everybody complains about n-gons, and that's true, yeah, you don't want n-gons, but guess what? We're going to be subdividing this foot later on. Or let me rephrase that. We already have subdivided, but we're going to apply that subdivision. And that means that those n-gons are actually going, once they get subdivided, they're going to actually get turned into regular quads. So one n-gon, when you subdivide it, turns into, I think, 5 just regular quads. So usually you don't want to use n-gons, but if you plan on subdividing them, then that's totally fine. So right there, I just, once again, dissolved those edges. And here I'm going to, I think, bevel these guys so we can create more additional edges like that. Because we want, I think, 8 edges for each finger. So if you see here, I just selected one of the fingers, and in the moment, if you looked in the bottom right corner, you should have seen 8 edges. Now here I was a bit confused because, oh wait, hold on. Yeah, there's another one right there that needs to go away. And now everything should be fine. As you can see here at the very bottom, at the very top, we have a bunch of n-gons. And once again, that's fine because we're going to be subdividing that later on. And those n-gons are going to turn into quads. And that's fine. So once again, loop tools, just, create it create a circle, move it into position, and then we're going to duplicate that and we're going to make the fingers now. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to make two fingers, one for the big toe, and then the other finger, then we're going to duplicate the big toe, and then we're going to use it for all the other fingers. Do a little bit of inset, scale it along the Z so that it's, flat. And then, grab the scope the, brush and just move things around. Not that I'm speaking, you could, model everything by just moving things around in edit mode. But the brushes with sculpting are just so much easier to use that it's like, might as well do it, Obviously right now the nail isn't really looking that good, but it'll look better once we move things around and fix things. When it comes to hands and feet, it's usually the things that people hate doing the most, because they're so tough to get right. I personally had to practice quite a lot to make it so that it's easy to follow in the video, and I try to simplify it as much as possible. So right here I'm just creating the actual nail itself. Now what I could have actually done to speed up the workflow is just duplicate the topology or the vertices on the actual toe that we made, but I said, what, let me just grab a plane, subdivide it a little bit, give it a little bit of solidify so it's a little bit thicker, and then position it there. But it's fine. Here I'm just kind of curving it a little bit by doing proportional editing and then moving it into position. There I just applied the solidify and then combined it with the rest of the mesh, so it's all just one thing. Now somebody's probably gonna ask me Ruby, why don't you just make the nail connected to the actual mesh? Why do you have it separated like that? And the reason why I have it separated is because it's easier to texture, and it's also easier to just move things around. Let's say you want to make the nail a little bit longer or thicker or something like that, and it's just kind of easier to have it a separated mesh. There I was just adding a little bit more loop cuts because I needed some shenanigans, a little bit more density, but yeah. And to make your life a little bit easier, I do highly recommend using facets. And the way I personally try to use them is I just select the area I want to make a facet in edit mode, and then I go to scope mode, and then you can do facets from edit mode selection, and that's going to just do it for you like that. And then you can press, I think it's by default Alt A, and that will allow you to, it will basically give you a pie menu, and in that pie menu you want to select facets, and that will basically make it so that you automatically mask based on your facets. So you will only be able to sculpt on the same facet that you're doing right now. that you're doing at the moment, I should say. And you will notice me basically making so that each toe has its own facet. Now, for just, for those who are like still a bit confused, why do I want to use facets? Well, basically, like when you have, for example, in this case, the toes are kind of close together, right? But let's say you only want to adjust one toe while like not adjusting the other toes. Well, that's where facets are very beneficial. They allow you to just like do adjustments to the areas that you only want to adjust, you know? So as you can see, I'm just, connecting all the stuff there. I was just a little bit confused there. I thought maybe like the normals were inverted, but I was just kind of doing it incorrectly. And obviously sometimes you might have to like, disable that auto masking. So the same way you do it is you just press Alt A and then the pie menu will appear again, and then you just, disable the facets. There's also like an option you can do in the, I think top right corner where it says options. I think you can go in there and just do it, if you don't want to use the default hotkey, you can just go there and change it from there. Right now the toes are looking a little bit wonky, a little bit thick in some areas and thin in some other areas, but we'll fix it slowly. Now somebody's gonna say, oh damn, denRubi, those are some long toes. And it's true, they are. I was going for like a certain style. Well, actually, it's not really a certain style. I was just kind of like following like a reference, and it just so happened that reference that I was following, the character had really long toes, which at that time I didn't really realize it that much, but at the end it was fine. If you want to make your toes a little bit shorter, just do it. That's fine. I'm probably gonna like in the future make new base meshes for hands and feet. Well, usually what I do, or what I'm going to start doing, is that I'm going to like start making like new base meshes for hands and feet from time to time, so that my characters don't have the same same look for all of them. I guess I should mention that, like, let's say you're maybe like not really a big fan of like making feet, I mean, not many people are, to be honest. I'm not really a big fan. But let's say that, you're like, I'm not really feeling, I'm not really in the mood to make, feet and stuff, or hands. Well, guess what? If you join my Discord server, there's actually a free blend file you can just, grab, and in it you'll find a pair of hands and feet that you can use on your models. Now, they're not going to be, these specific feet. They're going to be like a different style, I guess, a little bit different look to it. But yeah, they're pretty optimized. They're, pretty good. Many people have used it so far, and, people seem pretty happy with it. So, if you want to do that, feel free to, join the Discord. There's a channel called Tips and Tricks, and in there you'll be able to find the blend file, and you can just download it and use it. But yeah, we're pretty much just, doing the same old, just duplicating, one toe at a time, and then just kind of fixing things according to the reference. Simple as that. Right there, I enabled proportional editing, but I also enabled connected only, which means that it's only going to move the area that's actually connected to the selected mesh, to the selected part of the mesh. Which in this case allows us to like only move the toe and not like the rest of the foot. And pretty much at this point, we're technically speaking done. All we have to do is just kind of like, make it look good, just moving things around, adjusting the proportions and the shapes and stuff like that. And yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, it's not really the best looking foot, but I'm not really like a feet guy, so, this is what you get. Oh, I guess actually there's one final thing, and that's to just kind of like select these faces, do an inset, and then there you go. For the ankles. Obviously, another benefit of using facets is that it allows you to quickly mask things like this. And, move things in position. Alright, now for the hands. Once again, same thing, you know, references on the Discord server. You know, grab them. This time around, we're gonna start with the cylinder. 20, if I remember correctly, should be 20 vertices. And we're gonna start around the area around the fingers. Connect some of these dudes. And then we're gonna start extruding each finger. And then once again, you know, loop tools to make it a circle. Add a couple of loops there, and then dissolve those guys at the top, just like we did with the toes for the foot. Once again, that's going to create those n-gons, but once again, don't worry about it. It's fine because guess what? Once we subdivide it, those n-gons are gonna be gone. And just like we did with the toes, we're gonna create one finger first, and we're gonna duplicate it for the other fingers. Now keep in mind that even though I kind of like haphazardly just extruded that, I did actually place those extrusions in actual key areas. So, you know, if you want to like, you know, follow the tutorial, make sure that you extrude it the same way that I also extruded it. Now here I noticed some inverted faces, and then I noticed even more inverted faces. So yeah, I had to fix that. And I said, you know what, let me just... Usually I like to manually like fix normals by just kind of flipping them manually. But then I was like, you know what, let me just kind of recalculate it, you know, automatically. And, you know, you should always recalculate automatically because like in like 99.9%, it's just going to do it properly. But there's always that, you know, small percentage where it just kind of like screws up your normals. But yeah, most cases it should be fine. So once again, very similar like workflow, just like we did with the feet. You know, we're gonna inset that, you know, where the nail is, add a loop cut, and then, you know, do the shenanigans. And here where the bendy parts are for the, I guess, knuckles, technically speaking. Although the knuckles are at the root of the fingers. But yeah, we're gonna inset those guys. And this is the very important part. Make sure that you know, do not forget that, you know, nails do have a bend to them, right? They're not, you know, fully like flat. So you gotta fix that if you want to, you know, make it look good. And once again, we're gonna grab a plane and subdivide it a couple times here and there. And this is going to be used for the nails. Literally same workflow, you know, a little bit of solidify, a little bit of subdivision. Not gonna lie, probably the hardest part of making a good hand is this area with the nails. At least to me it is the hardest part, you know. For some other people it might be easy. But for me this is definitely like, you know, really tough getting it to look good. But you know, after a little bit of you know, working here and there, I think at the end we do get it to look, you know, halfway decent. Apply the solidify, you know, combine things together. And then, you know, go into edit mode, select everything. And then you can go face sets, and then from, you know, edit mode selection, you know, now you have your face sets for the finger. Duplicate a line, and then duplicate a line. And I highly recommend that, like, you make sure that the first finger that you make is properly made so that when you duplicate it, you don't have to do any additional fixing on all the fingers. Because, like, let's say that, you know, you first make all the fingers, right? And then, you know, start fixing one, then you got to fix all of them, you know? So just, you know, make one that's really good looking, and then use that one to duplicate it for all the other fingers. And that way you save, basically, you have to do, like, what? 4 times is less work? If my math adds up, because we're gonna also be duplicating the finger for the thumb as well, so yeah. In the side view right there, you will notice that it's kind of looking a little bit wonky, but you know, we'll fix it. Move things around, make them look good. When it comes to the thumb, we're pretty much gonna do like a similar story, you know. We're basically just gonna make it a little bit bigger. And then we're going to connect it with the rest of the hand. Right here, we're just gonna, duplicate those 20 vertices that we had. Double check the normals. Extrude them a couple of times, then just, connect them like this. So I think there was like more edges here on the hand, so I was like, you know what, let me just add a couple loop cuts here on the finger, and then now it should be pretty good. And then another feature I'm going to be using right here, which is bridge from Loop Tools, and it just kind of like automatically connects things up for you. And then once you connect it, add a couple loop cuts and just smooth it out. And now basically we're pretty much, I think at this point, almost done with the actual topology and like, the stuff. We just kind of have to like, make it look actually good and, move things around. And then once we do that, we need to add a couple more loop cuts so that we have that, magic 24 number, so we can connect the hand to the rest of the arm. You basically like never want to have a gap between your nail and the finger, because it would just look like the nail is kind of like sticking out, which kind of doesn't look good. So I think at this point I decided to actually rotate the fingers a little bit. Technically speaking, you don't really need to rotate them, it's fine. In some cases it's actually easier to rig if you don't rotate them, but I kind of do it because they do look a little bit better, rotated. So yeah, we're here gonna add those loop cuts. And if you remember, we had those n-gons there. I decided, you know what, let's actually add a couple loop cuts here and there, and then fix those n-gons by just, turning them into regular quads. Now there's still some n-gons there on the hand, but that's fine because, once again, I'll remind you guys that, once we subdivide it later on, you will notice that those n-gons will turn into quads. So that's totally fine. So I think at this point, yeah, we're gonna combine everything together. And we're going to use that same feature for the bridge. To bridge it together. And we can go into sculpt mode. And just kind of smooth it out and make it look actually, good. So here I realized that the actual leg had a couple of loop cuts that I didn't really need at the bottom. So I was like, you know what, let me just delete those guys. And then, we can connect it properly. And whenever you get that twist that I just got, you can always at the bottom, in the bottom left corner, you see that box. Whenever you bridge things, there's an option to change the twist, and then that'll allow you to fix the issue. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. We're at the end of the video. Next up is going to be some hair modeling. So, I'll see you guys then. Take care, my dudes. Bye-bye.